let's have a look now, and then at your actual team, which
Oh God, this is
is looking
depressing.
good. No, I gotta be
I'm
fair. It's
joking.
looking good. It's looking good.
So, okay, this is my team at the moment. Then I mean, on paper, my midfield looks really good, and I like my defense. Although I do worry about both Shaw and Cancelo playing both of the matches, but I don't think it's a move. I don't think moving either of them is going to particularly help me because it'll end up involving a hit, which just isn't worth it. So yeah, I do. I've got a few options, and it's just a lot of it comes down to who I'm going to triple captain. So the options for triple
Are you just
captain for
able
me,
to read your team out first, Adam?
yeah,
Sorry,
of course.
just the podcast listeners'
So
sake.
in goal, we've got Nick Pope.
Yeah.
We've got Cancelo, Diaz, and Shaw. Salah, Son, Bruno, Gundogan, and Rafinha, and then Ings and Watkins.
Yeah.
So one thing is for sure, Danny Ings will not be starting or involved for me in game week 26. He will be kicked out the team and unlikely to return again at any point this season. It's just who I bring in. So it will be one of two people. It'll be Kane or Watkins. Sorry, Kane or Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah.
So I could do the sensible move would be bringing Calvert-Lewin, and I could possibly then bring in Barnes for Rafinha, or I could bring in I could maybe do Kufal to Luka Dean, for example. So they're possible moves, and if there is a double game week 28 confirmed, it sets me up further down. It sets me up further down the line.
Yeah.
So they're probably more the sensible options. Exactly. I'd say sensible options. I don't. And then the alternative is to go Ings and Son to Barnes and Kane, triple captain Kane, or possibly even Barnes.
Yeah.
So there is the option to do that. The one move I sent it to you, didn't I? And I don't think I'm going to go ahead with this, but I could effectively take out Salah, Ings, and Bamford, and bring in Calvert-Lewin. Who else was it? Calvert-Lewin, Kane, and Barnes, and it gives me quite a bit of money in the bank. It's about 3 million in the bank, and it actually, in terms of going forwards, it gives me quite a lot of options with my team. So that's probably the one going forwards I like the most. But taking Salah out in a double game week, if we're asking for
We talked
trouble.
about this in game week 18, I think, didn't
I
we?
know. But I think it might even work for you in that time. So I'm not afraid of taking Salah out at all, because I think the Chelsea game is going to be tough, and I don't expect him to get loads from that. But as has already been mentioned in the chat about Sheffield United missing players, and I think Kane did well away at Sheffield United. Rashford and Martial did well away at Sheffield United. So there's been a few people that have picked up points there, and it could be getting to the point where they're sort of given up. So I don't think they give up under Ward, but but I think maybe actually it's not going to happen for us.
Yeah.
So at the moment, it just depends who I'm going to put my triple captain on. If I go for the Calvert-Lewin option, there's nobody jumping out, saying I've got to triple captain this person. I think Kane is the one that if I had him in, I would triple captain.
Is it because he's not the same price as Kane? Is that the only reason?
Calvert-Lewin?
Yeah.
Or
If he was the same price as Kane, bear in mind both their
if it's the same price
performances
as Kane,
this season, would you triple captain him then? I know it's a bit of a
No, I tell you, it's not the price. I think it's the pedigree. There you go. It's a good pedigree of Kane over the years.
Okay, fair enough.
I think the consistency of him in general against the smaller teams, and it's not necessarily Calvert-Lewin. I think he's had an injury which doesn't help. Of course, Kane has as well. So that's to balance that out.
Yeah.
But Everton, I just find really, really unpredictable. And they played brilliant against Liverpool. But if you look at their results and their clean sheets this season and how they've performed, it's just been, I mean, I think I looked at their clean sheets are quite interesting because they've come against a lot of the top sides, Leicester, Spurs, Liverpool, etc. So they've come against a lot of the top sides. and they're just so difficult to predict. You look at that Newcastle game, you look at that Fulham game. West Brom are going to be desperate for a clean sheet. Now, Southampton were terrible against Leeds, and with Romeo out potentially, there could be an opportunity there for him to do quite well. So, yeah, it's a tough one. Ideally, I would like Kane and Calvert-Lewin, but I'm not sure at the expense of Salah. I think and extra -4. That is the answer. So I think the big question for me is looking at the captaincy. I think Bruno away at Palace could do well, and you've always got the hope with Bruno that he gets a penalty. But that Chelsea game, I could see it being 0-0, 1-0 Chelsea.
Yeah.
I can't really see many. Because I think you look at United's games, particularly against the big teams this season, 0-0 away at Liverpool, 0-0 at home to Chelsea, 0-0 away at Arsenal, 0-0 at home to City. There's a bit of a pattern emerging there, isn't there? Which is probably good for sure. But I'm not sure it's, I think Bruno, it's probably going to be a potential Hall versus Palace plus. But Palace, I think if you looked at the language, they've talked about going back to basics and tightening up, which I don't think reads good for that. So it's basically a Hall v Palace plus 2 points. Same arguably for Salah, a Hall versus Sheffield plus 2 points. Because I think I do like Chelsea defensively and what they're doing at the moment. And then you think Son I'm not convinced with, but you think Kane with those two matches, I see more in it for them. I mean, the other one that I've not really seen anybody mention is Gundogan for captain. But it's, again, will he start both of those?
It's just matches? All the games, and Pep has said, haven't he? That he's going to rotate. So then if you do pick him as captain, you'd be hard pushed to complain then, because he basically told us, which is why I'm kind of avoiding him as captain. But I do think he's a good option if he starts both. I just don't think he will.
What would you do? So with my team, what would you do if I put you in charge for this week?
Yeah, we have very similar teams, and the move I'll be making, which I don't want to kind of spoil it because we'll look at it now, but I'm just making one very simple, straightforward move, because I feel that Kane potentially covered by Son, because they, when they do score, they tend to cover each other anyway. The captaincy is the one I'm kind of stuck on at the moment, but I'm just doing the one move. Because
Calvert-Lewin.
Yeah, because I can just do one move, 11 players out. We'll look at.
Go on to you. Let's go on to you.
So I've got Martinez in goals. I've got a back four at the moment of Diaz, Cancelo, Shaw, and Luka Dean. Four in midfield of Salah, Son, Bruno, and Gundogan. And I've got Watkins and Ings up front with a bench of Pope, and then Bamford, Rafinha, and Dallas. So, it's pretty good team, I think. And my thoughts at the moment, I've looked at getting in Kane, right? But I can just do Ings to Calvert-Lewin. My issue is captaincy, but I'm not even sure that Kane is the best captaincy option regardless this week. So, but I'm also not really sure who is, if anyone. I'm going for Calvert-Lewin. I wish he was on penalties. I think that's the only thing which I wish he was on, because it's always just that fallback. But Southampton and West Brom for me, their last few performances, okay, West Brom have tightened up. Southampton, Romeo went off injured last night. I wouldn't be surprised if he missed a game. So this is why I think that Calvert-Lewin is pretty decent. It means I don't have to take any hits. It means I've got Calvert-Lewin in for if they double in 28, or I won't have Kane in 27 or 29. I think they play Arsenal in 28, so that's not the end of the world. But I'm kind of happy, and in terms of a triple captain, I think I'm playing it because I think it's the best week to play it in the season. I think I'm playing it because I think it's probably the best week that's left, if that makes sense. Kind of best of a bad bunch, rather than think it's the absolute optimal time personally. But other kind of thoughts, I really like Harvey Barnes, right? I would like Harvey Barnes, but I'm not willing to get rid of Son ahead of a double, especially when I'm not bringing in Kane. And currently I've got 6 for 29. also the thing with Ings as well. So he does double in 27, which a few people have said, but his second one is against Man City, which is not. It's not very exciting, right? So
What? Yeah, no, agreed. What about my team then? Go say one quick question.
Yeah,
because we're set up similarly. So
yeah,
and I think I would do the same in your position. I think it makes sense. You can do that one move. Do you think it's worth a hit? And I've talked up Rafinha, but I really like Harvey Barnes, and I could be tempted to do. It will be with a heavy heart to lose Rafinha, but then I could bring in Harvey Barnes and triple captain him, and I think at the moment when I've watched him, the Maddison out is a slight concern, but I think the way he is playing at the moment, and actually, like I said, I'll have a look at the full Leicester personnel, but indeed is there, Vardy's there, so I still think there's going to be opportunities for him to thrive. It's just probably the Arsenal game. Will he get the same amount of space? I'm not sure.
I think for me it's a similar thing to what we talked around Bamford or Rafinha last week, where I think I definitely said I think you agreed is that I know Rafinha returned in the end. He deserved to return, but Bamford's the striker, and Bamford should have scored at least 2 goals last night, right? And I suppose this is the thing: is going for a midfielder like.
I got Guy Parfit. Wait, so you're both Rafinha haters?
Yeah, no, definitely not.
I'm just exploring my options, Guy.
I just think if you went for Harvey Barnes, right?
Yeah.
And Calvert-Lewin or Kane banged in a couple of goals, which they're more than capable of doing.
Yeah.
You'd be kicking yourself if Barnes didn't do anything. Whereas if it's the other way around, and you had Harvey Barnes, absolutely great, because his ownership is still quite low, right? But if you put the triple captaincy on him, to me, well, it's up to you, right? Looking at your rank, and depending on what you want to get to, it's one of those things that could shoot you up into top 50k, or it's one of those things that can make you fall down to 400 or 500k. So I think
I think this week, particularly with the triple captain, I mentioned Kane. I think is probably the best option. I think other than that, I don't think anybody really, really jumps out. So I think taking a punt isn't a bad idea, because I don't think the risk factor is huge. I don't think there are loads of options that have double game weeks this week. I think the captaincy will be fairly split.
Yeah.
So I think you can take a punt, but obviously you want to take a punt on the right player. So I'm definitely not averse to going for somebody who is a little bit lower owned. I think they'll score the most points.
I think the only other thing I would say about Harvey Barnes, and this, I personally like players who are on penalties, on set pieces, right? And this is why I fancied Rafinha. Harvey Barnes is reliant only on goals from open play, which, is just another small factor for me. When you think about Kane, Salah, Bruno, Gundogan even, De Bruyne, Rafinha, Bamford, all these players have all got that kind of second thing in their locker, which can help them get the points even if they're not playing well. So, but